Hi guys, welcome or welcome back. Thanks so much for joining me. Jessica McGovern, international multi-award winning portrait photographer, and I'm here today to talk to you about starter studio stuff. This has been like a really long requested video and we've never done it. And the reason for never doing it is because I never had any of the stuff to be able to do it with. But now that has changed and I've got a really exciting giveaway to talk about as well. I'm going to discuss that a little bit later on in this video, but we're going to try and cram this into 5 minutes. I'm not sure if that's physically possible, but we're going to give it a go. So without further ado, let's put 5 minutes on the clock and get stuck in. If you haven't already, please do consider hitting the subscribe button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon. The bell icon will give you a notification every single time I upload a YouTube video. I upload every single week on a Friday at 12 noon UK time. I'm getting slower at saying that now, which is a little bit disappointing. I need to practice a bit more. Starter studio, like I've said, is something that we've not covered because I haven't had the equipment to be able to do that. So you guys are all like, well, it's all well and good for you, Jess. You've got all of this kit. What about me? I don't have anything and I don't have an infinite amount of cash to be able to buy all of your stuff. Remember that when you upgrade stuff over time, it looks like you have everything all in one go, but that's not the case. So I've been collecting and collating studio equipment for about 10 years now. And so my current roster of kit is quite large, but I didn't start there. So I wanted to cover off just some starter bits and pieces that I genuinely would get if I was starting out all over again right from the very beginning. So to start with, you need to understand how lights work, because otherwise some of the stuff I'm going to talk about is going to be straight over your head. Please go ahead and look at our Flash series. We've got Flash 101 Part 1 and I'll link that above, and then that links on nicely into Flash 101 Part 2. Both of those two videos will give you absolutely invaluable foundation knowledge to be able to put everything I'm going to go through into practice. But in terms of what equipment you're going to want to have for either starter studio or starter off-camera flash work, whether you're mixing and balancing ambient light with flash or something else entirely, is going to really depend on what you want to do in the future. Now, I've created this little pot of goods based on future proofing. Okay, you don't have to get everything that I'm going to go through, but I've got what I have with me to basically show you what you can get for that first little pot of stuff, and then build up onto it afterwards. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is lights. A lot of people have said, what light should I get to start with? Do I need a 600 watt strobe? No, you don't need a 600 watt strobe. Just because I have one, just because someone you know has one, doesn't mean that you need one, okay? For most things, you're not really going to need that amount of power. It's only very specific occasions where you're going to need it. When we look at our Flash 101 Part 1 and Part 2, we've talked about different things such as the flash duration and high-speed sync and TTL. All of these things are really important, and the lights that I'm going to go through today have the capability that you would need to achieve all of those things. Okay, so you've got all of the stuff in the pot. Now, the first thing that I want to go through is my first light, which is technically my top pick, and that is the PIKA200 Pro. So that is this light. So this is a PIKA200 Pro. The PIKA200 Pro is a 200 watt light, as the name suggests, and the Pro part of it is based on its recycle times and its flash duration. So it does have a really short flash duration. You can freeze that action in studio and it'll allow you to do all sorts of creative bits and pieces. Now, one of the best parts about the PIKA200 Pro that I personally like and rate a lot is the fact that the head on it is a speed light head. And I know that that's going to confuse a few people who know me really well, but I actually do like that because it means you can use a lot of inexpensive speed light modifiers and mod ends to augment what you're doing quite cheaply. Okay, so we like this light. This light has got really fast recycle times, it's got a super short flash duration, and it's about the power of 3 speed lights in one. So you've got more than enough power to be able to shoot your studio stuff. You saw me use this in the how to shoot Christmas lights video. I'll go ahead and link to that above. I've also shot with this out on location as an off-camera flash light source, mixing ambient with artificial light to achieve creative outputs. And so that is this light. I think it's awesome. It does also come with a bulb head if you want to use a bulb head. I've actually just resorted to leaving it with just the speed light head on it when I'm shooting with it all of the time, because it means that I can use my modeling light. So really simple to use, digital screen on the back so that you can see everything nice and clearly. If you want to pop your modeling light on, you can pop your modeling light on, and there it goes as a little flash. So I think it's great. Genuinely, I think it's an awesome, awesome, awesome light. And benefit of this light is that if you purchase it and start your studio kit with this, it means that you can future-proof what you're doing next outwards, which is what I want to come on to. And that's why this video has been a long time coming, because I've needed to make sure that what I'm doing is future-proof for as you develop and grow as photographers. So what does this light do? Well, this light works with this trigger. Now, you might find this trigger familiar, and that's because it is. So this is the trigger that sits atop my camera, fires the flash remotely. I can change the power of the light via this. I can also change some of the modes that are on the flash with this. This trigger here works with my 600 watt strobes, the PIKA200 Pro strobes. So I use this all of the time, and it works with this too, which means the point of all of that means that I can use my 600 watt strobes or 400 watt strobes or whatever strobes I want to use, and also integrate this as an additional light source to provide a little kick of power somewhere else, which means that you're future-proofing yourself, because the trigger actually works with way more than just this one light, which is difficult to get if you're using speed lights. You can't really do that unless you use a third-party trigger, and then you're probably going to be sacrificing some elements of TTL and potentially even high-speed sync, depending on what you use. Now, if you go and buy this trigger, which you should do, with this light, then you need to make sure that you've got the right hot shoe attachment. So there'll be one for Canon, there'll be one for Nikon, there'll be one for Sony. You want to make sure that you get the right hot shoe attachment for the trigger. Otherwise, it's just not going to work at all in the first place. So you want to get these two things, right? First point of call. Then in our future-proofing mission, we also want to include one more thing, which is this. So this is the PIKA200 Pro Smart Bracket. The PIKA200 Pro Smart Bracket makes a speed light or a speed light ended light into a normal strobe, okay? And the point of all of that is essentially, again, future-proofing. So it means that you can buy your modifiers to fit the front of the bracket rather than the front of this light. And what that means is that your modifiers can grow with you. So if you find in 2 years' time that 200 watts isn't strong enough for you, but all you've got is speed light ended modifiers, then your situation that you're going to hit is that you'll upgrade to a strobe with a Bowens mount, for example, and you're going to end up in a situation where you can't use any of your existing modifiers. You're going to have to go out and re-buy all of your equipment all over again, which is a waste of time and a waste of money. So we don't want to do that. We buy this, which essentially allows you to slot the light straight down in the middle there, clamp it on, and use it with different modifiers that you're going to use. Modifier wise, I can't show you my favorite modifier because it's literally on this light that's sat above me right now. The modifiers that I like to use all of the time, as you guys well know, are octoboxes, because I prefer the shape that they give in the catchlight of the eyes. I prefer that over square shapes or rectangular shapes. And so my personal preference for the first modifier that anybody will ever get is probably around a 105, 110 centimeter octobox. And I'm going to link my favorite one down in the description below and also in the blog post that's attached to this so that you can access it. It's really great quality. It will last you for years and years and years and years, and it's an easy open, so it pops up like an umbrella rather than you having to faff around and try and get tent poles into this tent-like contraption, which is just a pain in the backside and so inefficient. So I'm going to make sure that you've got all of those bits and pieces together. Now, what if you turn around and go, Jess, I don't even need 200 watts. I'm just going to go get speed light. Well, I mean, you can if you want. You're going to struggle a little bit with your recycle times, the overall power of that. And also, depending on which speed light you go ahead and get, you're going to also probably struggle a little bit with high speed sync if you need to use that when you're out on location. So what I would suggest instead of going ahead and doing that is actually grabbing one of these little things. So this little light here is a City 100. It's technically a City 100 Pro, which again hints back to the recycle time and the flash duration. But this little light is like it's about the size of like a can. It's slightly larger than a can of Coke, I would say, personally. Really great battery life, perfectly usable, and it fits the smart bracket as well. So you can integrate all of your kit together. It also fires with the same trigger. So you can start to add to your little lighting lineup. If you only need 100 watts, then this is the one for you. But for me personally, I would be recommending the PIKA200 for most instances that you're going to come across in your future career as a photographer. But as an absolute starter, you can't go far wrong with this one. So let's say that we've got a modifier, we've got a light, we've got a trigger, and we also have our smart bracket to be able to connect all of it all together. You're still missing two things. The first one is a light stand. Of course, everybody knows I love my 225 centimeter wheeled light stand, but that's going to be overkill for most of you in most situations. So what I would recommend instead is my go-to light stands, which are currently holding up our acoustic curtain that's behind the camera, which are heavy duty light stands from PIKA200 Pro that are air cushioned. They've got dual screws, so there's a screw point right at the bottom of the legs, which means that you can lift it up and set it on top of different sized surfaces, which is really, really useful. I'll go ahead again and link to that down in the description below. That light stand, if you get two of those and a backdrop support, you also will then have a backdrop support system. So at the moment, my light stands are currently holding up a backdrop support with an acoustic curtain draped over the top. A background support, again, is something that I will go ahead and link down below in the description and in the blog post that accompanies this. All of the equipment that I'm sending you right now isn't the cheapest on the market, but if you pay cheap, you're going to have to pay it twice. So what I'm suggesting is equipment that is affordable, but very good value for money and will last you for years and years and years, which in my opinion, as someone who has had to rebuy everything that was cheap because it all broke, then, you know, you've heard it from me first, that it really does pay to invest in as much as you possibly can afford at that point. So by now we've got a light stand, a light, a modifier, along with a smart bracket, and the trigger sat on top of your camera. So really, what else is left? There's not really much else apart from maybe a reflector if you want one, and a backdrop if you want one. But with all of the equipment that I've just gone through, you've got genuinely every single thing that you need to be able to start to create some artwork utilizing an off-camera flash, either on location or in studio. Literally everything is here. There's nothing else to add. Of course, I would also say to grab a white balance card or the color checker. I'll go ahead and link a video to the spider checker that we reviewed and we use on a daily basis to make sure our color is correct, which takes us to the end really, because I mean, that's kind of it. You don't need anything more. You don't really need anything less. It's kind of, that's where you want to start. And if you want more than one light, you just kind of multiply out, or you can upgrade to different powers as you wish. Anyway, let's get to the fun part. I've been shooting with this for the last few weeks, okay? I've been shooting with it on different shoots. I've been shooting with it in studio. I've been shooting with it, like I said, outside. And we've got something exciting that we need to share because I'm actually going to give this away, this exact one. So if you would like a light that's been handled and played with by me and all the settings changed by me to what I would use it for, then this is now your moment, okay? You can get your hands on this light for free, which I think is amazing because I wish I'd have had that opportunity. I've had to, because I know I'm going to give it away. I've had to go and buy a new one so that I can have one to keep. So this PIKA200 Pro is going to be given away to the lucky winner of the giveaway competition. This giveaway is facilitated by both ourselves at That Photography Spot and also PIKA200 Pro. They've kindly donated us a light. We're going to give it away to one of you guys. So how do you win this? Well, all you need to do is go ahead and navigate to the blog post that's linked below. I'll drop a link to it also above, and follow the instructions on there to enter into the giveaway. You have 1 month from today's date, the date that this video was posted, to enter the giveaway, and we will be picking a winner at random, complete random, and we'll be shipping this over to you wherever you are in the world. There are a few countries that we can't ship to. That will all be detailed there. We'll also list a set of terms and conditions onto the giveaway, but this exact light that I'm holding in my hand right now could be yours if you want it. So go ahead and hit up that giveaway. Really, really, really jealous of you guys for being able to get that. I might have to add another one when I get the one that I'm actually using. I'm going to take it to Italy. It's going to be the light that I'm going to take with me on shooting in Italy next week. So if you're with me in Italy as well for the retreat in the workshop there, then you will get hands-on experience using this light and seeing how it works out on location in a variety of different places. But this one I'm going to leave at home, make sure it stays safe and sound, keep it all in one piece with no marks or scratches so that it's in perfect condition for the lucky winner to take home. So that's it for today. Definitely went over my 5 minutes. I'm really sorry about that, but it was an important one and I needed to make sure it was done well and correctly. This is everything you need to get started. Utilize the Flash 101 videos when you get hold of your first lights. Utilize our studio lighting pattern videos that we've gone through previously. It's all in the studio playlist, and I really can't wait to see what you create. That's everything for this week, so I'll see you next week for another 5 Minute Friday. Hope you're all keeping safe and well, and I'll speak to you soon.